Hi everyone. In this video, I will be explaining about renal membrane transport mechanisms. The learning objectives. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify the classes of membrane transport mechanisms and understand the terms such as channels, transporters, uniporters, symporters, and antiporters. Now, basically, there are two mechanisms by which solute can be transported within the cell membrane. The first mechanism is movement by diffusion, and the second is protein-mediated transport. Movement by diffusion is also called simple diffusion, whereby solutes are transported according to their electrochemical gradient, that is, from the high concentration to low concentration. Some examples for this category are blood gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, or steroid hormones such as aldosterone. For the protein-mediated transport, this again can be classified into two types. The first is channels and the second is transporters. For channels, they are integral protein, and very important specification of channels, they contain a hole within the anterior part of the integral protein. Channels also, they are selective. They are water channels, they are sodium channels, they are potassium channels. And in this case, we have aquaporins, that is water transport channels. And within the kidney, they are available within the proximal convoluted tubule as well as within the collecting ducts. Transporters, they are different from channel, especially they have a binding site in both sides of the transport proteins. And usually, transporters undergo conformational changes that is not seen in channels. Transporter further can be divided into uniporters and multiporters. And again, you need to differentiate between uniporter and multiporter. Now, uniporter, these transporters are capable to transport only single molecule at one time, and uniporters is also called facilitated diffusion. One example is glucose transporters that is available within the proximal convoluted tubule, especially at the basolateral membrane of the epithelial cells. For multiporter, they are divided into two types, symporter and antiporter. For symporters, the transporter are able to transport two or more solute at the same time and at the same direction. One of the examples are sodium glucose co-transporter that transport sodium and glucose at the same time and same direction. These type of transporters, they are available within the proximal convoluted tubule, within the apical sides of the epithelial cells. The other type of multiporter are antiporter. Antiporter, they are capable to transport two solute in the opposite direction. One of the very good example is sodium hydrogen exchanger. And this is very important transporter by which reabsorption of sodium occur and secretion of hydrogen ion. And this exchanger are available within the proximal convoluted tubule. To summarize, we have discussed about membrane transport mechanism, and there are two important mechanisms by which solute can be transported. The first mechanism is simple diffusion, and the second mechanism is protein-mediated transport. We give example on simple diffusion like gases and like steroid hormones. For protein-mediated transport, we have classified them further into two types, that is channels and transporters. Both of them, they are having integral proteins. But what are the difference? The difference channels, they have holes within the integral protein, and transporter, they have a binding sites of the solute. And channel, they are selective for specific ion, for example, aquaporin, we have give example, and sodium as well as potassium channels. Transporters, on the other hand, can be classified into two types, uniporter and multiporter. Uniporter, they are able to transport single molecule at one time, and one example is glucose transport within the basolateral membrane of the epithelial cells within the proximal convoluted tubule. Multiporter, further we have classified them into two, that is symporter and antiporter. For symporter, these transporters are capable to transport two solute in the same direction, and we give one example is sodium glucose symporters or cotransporters. For antiporters, they are able to transport two ions in opposite direction. One example is sodium hydrogen antiporter or sodium hydrogen exchanger. I hope this one is useful to you and I thank you very much.